Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolf Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? If you're a fan of bold, comforting flavors or just love exploring authentic Latin cuisine from the comfort of your own kitchen, today's video is just for you. We're diving into a taste test and review of Juanita's Menudo and Pozole soups. These two classics have been a pantry staple for many, but how do they really hold up in terms of taste, texture, and authenticity? Let's find out. So let's start off with a Pozole de Pollo con Chile Rojo, which is pork and hominy soup, which is packed with hominy, tender pork, and red chili broth. Here's the list of ingredients, and if you noticed, there's no garbage in this soup. Just real wholesome ingredients that you can pronounce. And the pork is all pork and nothing but pork. No TVP or other added soy products. Per 1 cup serving, there's 180 calories, 5 grams of total fat, 2 grams of saturated fat, no trans fat, 31 milligrams of cholesterol, 891 milligrams of sodium, 20 grams of carbohydrates, 2 grams of fiber, no sugars, and 13 grams of protein. Now let's get our Pozole de Pollo out of the can and into a pan. Would you listen to that? I'm a poet and didn't even know it. Now once it's all out of the can and into the pan, let's get it heated up. Oops, I did it again. While our pozole is heating up, I, the person, need to ask you, the people, for a favor. I would love to hit 1 million subscribers this year so I can finally eat that flip-flop I promised to you, the people, that I would eat. So if you're watching this video and you're enjoying it, or even if you're not enjoying it, and you just want to see some fat old dude eat a flip-flop, hit the subscribe button. Boogeyman! And share it with your family and friends and your enemies so they too can subscribe and watch me eat a flip-flop. Now our pozole is nice and hot and ready to try. So we scooped up a big old spoonful of hominy and pork. And then into my face orifice it went. And you could immediately tell after that first bite that this soup was made with love. But maybe not in a home kitchen made with love, but in a factory made with love. That's called like group love, isn't it? It's like peace, love, and processed food, y'all. There were big chunks of tender, succulent pork with just a little bit of fat on most pieces, which I loved. The hominy was hominy. It takes on the flavor of whatever you put in it. And speaking of flavor, the broth was magically delicious. It was very well seasoned, it was rich, it was savory, with just the right amount of heat. Serve a big bowl of this, garnished with chopped onions, cilantro, radishes, and shredded pickled cabbage, along with some tortillas and a cold cerveza, and you have a hell of a meal. That would require a siesta after eating a bowl of this goodness. That's why I'm giving Juanita's Pozole de Pollo an 8 out of 10. Next up, we have Juanita's Pozole de Pollo con Chile Verde, which is chicken and hominy soup, which is made with tender chicken, hearty hominy, and a bright, zesty green chili broth crafted from tomatillos, green chilies, and traditional seasonings. Here's the list of ingredients, and at least we got through 1 can without any soy products in it. And at least the chicken is chicken, not a foreign meat slurry concoction. Per 1 cup serving, there's 137 calories, 3 grams of total fat, 1 gram of saturated fat, no trans fat, 30 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,060 milligrams of sodium, 17 grams of carbohydrates, 2 grams of fiber, 1 gram of sugars, and 10 grams of protein. Now let's get our Pozole de Pollo con Chile Verde out of the can and into the pan, and then get it heated up and into our pie hole. In my opinion, it's not the most visually appetizing soup to look at. But hey, blind people don't eat with their eyes first, so why should we? So we got a big old spoonful. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. And just like salsa verde, it has a very vibrant citrus flavor that's very well seasoned with the perfect amount of heat. This pozole has both white and dark meat chicken, and fortunately, I got a piece of dark meat on my first bite, which was delicious, tender, and moist. But in the next couple bites or so, I did get some white meat chicken, which I wasn't nearly as fond of, because white meat tends to dry out really easily, especially once it's cooked and then you reheat it again. Again, add the customary condiments along with a cold cerveza, and you really have a good, hearty, delicious meal. Which is why I'm giving Juanita's Pozole de Pollo con Chile Verde a 7 out of 10. Now let's try Juanita's Menudo with Honeycomb Tripe, which is made with premium honeycomb tripe and hearty hominy in a deeply seasoned red chili broth. And if you've never had tripe, don't confuse it with chitlins. They're not the same thing. Tripe is the lining of a cow's stomach. Chitlins are the small intestine of a pig, which is where the poo comes from. Nobody wants to eat the poo, and they smell and taste just like the poo. How do I know that? Well, unfortunately, I've tried chitlins about a handful of times, and they all smelled and tasted exactly the same, like poo. Here's the list of ingredients. Per 1 cup serving, there's 180 calories, 6 grams of total fat, 2 grams of saturated fat, no trans fat, 128 milligrams of cholesterol, 923 milligrams of sodium, 16 grams of carbohydrates, 2 grams of fiber, 1 gram of sugars, and 16 grams of protein. So once our menudo is heated through, it's time to get a big old spoonful and then into my old pie hole and down the gullet it went. Wow, that's one of those bites you want to close your eyes, raise your head up in the air along with your arms, stomp your foot, and say, "Praise Jesus!" The tripe is succulent. It's fatty, it's juicy, it's tender, and it has a nice little chew to it. And the broth is rich, savory, spicy, but not too spicy, and absolutely delicious. And of course the hominy is delicious because it's soaking up all that delicious broth. This is my favorite Juanita soup so far, which is why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Next we have the Juanita's Hot and Spicy Menudo. And I'm not going to do a full review on this because the ingredients are exactly the same as the regular menudo. And again, the menudo was fantastic, except it was extra spicy. But it still wasn't too spicy to eat. It was still an enjoyable spice, but I much preferred their regular menudo spice, which is why I'm giving Juanita's Hot and Spicy Menudo an 8 out of 10. And finally we had Juanita's Extra Hot Menudo, which again was just like their regular menudo, except it was extra hot. The soup was absolutely fantastic, but the spice level was getting to that point it wasn't going to be enjoyable for the whole can, which is why I'm giving Juanita's Extra Hot Menudo a 7 out of 10. All of these soups were absolutely delicious, and if you've never tried them, I highly recommend you give them a try. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.